So, the Rolex Submariner. Here's how much the Rolex... Oh, that's too barking Jack. I don't know why I'm super influenced by him. Let's try something different. Here's how much the Rolex Submariner will cost in 2030. Let's get into it. So the Rolex Submariner is basically like a blue chip stock. For those who don't know what a blue chip stock is, it's a stock that you know will give you a return over time. So large companies like Apple, Tesla, Google, well that's Alphabet, but yeah, Amazon. Those are all blue chip stocks because there's literally no way over time, over a long period of time, that they will go down in value. So you will pretty much always make money when investing into those companies. So those are blue chip stocks. I'm not really too knowledgeable about stocks, so you probably know a lot more about it than me. So let's get into the Submariner part of the video. Before we continue, I'd really like to thank Ken Watches because they're the ones who let me get hands-on with this piece and many other watches. They're a watch dealer based in Hong Kong, but they do ship worldwide, so do check them out at kenwatches.com. Now, what will the Submariner cost in 2030? We can estimate that by pretty much taking the price of it in 2020. That's the last time they hiked the price so far. As far as I'm aware, they've not hiked it again, well, in 2021, Jan, this year yet. But annually, they typically hike it at about 6%. That's what Rolex usually does. They take all their models and hike them about 6% annually or biannually sometimes. Now let's say that they do this annually because they're one of the hottest watches on the entire watch market and literally everybody's willing to pay over retail for every watch of theirs outside of the Datejust, which is the only thing that sits in their stores. They're pretty confident in their pricing right now, at the very least, I would say. So they can pretty much hike the price by 6% every year without batting an eye. So, there's too many so's in this video. If we take the sum of $9,500 US, which is what the Submariner is at currently as of the latest price update of 2020, I have not seen a price update this year, 2021, yet. We're in the mid of Jan right now. So, let's take the previous one. Do a compound interest calculation of that sum of $9,500 US with 6%. In 2030, we have 17,000 and a bit. So 17,013.05 US dollars in 2030. Now, we haven't accounted for inflation, but as you may know, every year the value of inflation typically gets less. So it's right around 1%, 1.4%. That's the higher end of that margin. So let's take it at that. And then if we subtract that amount, the inflation amount, we're left with a price of little over 15,500 US dollars. Basically, today's money, that would be 15,500 US dollars. That's a significant increase just for a period of time of 10 years. If you're a stock guy, I'm not a stock guy, but I just know this information that stocks typically increase at about 7% annually. So if you invest in an index fund or something of the sort, you should typically expect a 7% annual return on your money. Now that's 1% more than Rolex, so Rolex is pretty much almost the same as a blue chip stock, is what I'm trying to say, at a fixed 7% rate, well 6%. In 2030, we're going to see the price of the Rolex Submariner to be, well, I'm estimating at least 17,000 US dollars. Now it's more likely that they don't stick with that 6% and they increase it to 7 or 8%, or some year they just hike the price randomly, maybe 10%. If the demand continues the way it is right now, I could see that happening. I'm expecting the Submariner to be priced somewhere between 18 and 20,000 US dollars in 2030. Now for a stainless steel sports watch, yes, that is ridiculous, but that is the market, and the market will always supersede what the individual thinks of that particular watch. So that's very likely is what I'm trying to say. So between 18 and 20,000 US dollars. Now that's pretty much almost spot on to the same amount a stock would have increased, well, in terms of percentage, the same percentage a stock would have increased your money from today to then. So Rolex is right now, given the way things are going, assuming people don't lose interest in the brand, it is pretty much almost as good as a blue chip stock. Now the advantage of having a Rolex is you have a physical watch, and it's likely that as long as you don't lose it or significantly damage it, you can enjoy the piece and get something out of it hopefully in 10 years. But if everything goes sideways, then you're pretty much not going to make money, because it's, at the end of the day, it's not a stock, which even in stocks, things can go sideways and you could lose a hell of a lot more than you could lose on a Submariner. So it's a weird place to be thinking about a Rolex Submariner as an investment. Don't do that, but if you're curious, that's what this video is for. It's not a recommendation, it's just interesting to take a look at these things. So now, since you're gonna say, okay, you bought the watch and it's 10 years old, it's not a new watch, so does that really mean that there's going to be any value increase? Typically what we've seen over the past few years, at least the past maybe 6 years, we've seen the Submariners, the used ones, to almost catch up to the new ones, because no one's able to buy the new ones. Almost catches up to the retail price, not the grey market price. Now, all of the values we're talking about here are the retail prices. So typically a $17,000 or $18,000 watch at retail from Rolex would easily go anywhere between $20,000 and $24,000 if things continue and the hype continues just the way it is. In 2030, the Rolex Submariner is probably going to be worth double of what it is today, and the price today is already pretty ridiculous. I hope that this doesn't actually happen. I'd like to see the watch on more risks, so I'd like the hype to settle a bit. I think it's unnecessary right now, and I don't think it can last. But just looking at the way things are going right now, and assuming things stay constant, then yes, in 2030, the Rolex Submariner should be anywhere between 18 and 20,000 US dollars. I hope that piece of information was interesting to you, or at least intriguing. Thanks for watching. Do check us out at Standard Time Insta on Instagram, and see you guys next video. Cheers.